today was my last day at the affiliate summit, and usually by the end of a trade show, I'm happy to go home. And to be honest, I learned so much at the various sessions that I went to that I wish there was another day. To be totally honest, I learned a lot in some of the sessions that I went to. Some of the people's talks were absolutely phenomenal. I want to cover the talk that I went to this morning. Was put on by Christopher Knight, who's the CEO of eZine Articles, and the name of the session was Scaling Article Marketing. And I learned a lot today because I've never done article marketing, and it's something that I hear a lot about, and I hear a lot of people talk about, but I didn't really have a whole lot of insights into it. And so I was actually on the fence as to whether or not I should go, because I thought, well, it's not really for me. I'm not, I like to do video, and I do like to write a little bit, but I'd rather just keep that content exclusive to my blog. But I went anyway. And the take home for me actually is that I'm going to start article marketing. So I'm going to go through some of the things that Chris covered in his talk. His talk was really good. The general overall theme, he's one of these guys that makes everyone in the audience participate in his actions. And he had one side of the room say, write Mo articles, and he had the other side of the room say, get Mo traffic. And he had this kind of slideshow that he did. It was interesting. His overall theme was essentially that you shouldn't be thinking, obviously quality is important. You want to make sure that your articles are good, but you should be thinking in terms of quantity when you're writing articles. And we'll get to that. So if you don't know about eZine Articles, they've got an Alexa rank of 131. They do an amazing amount of traffic. Apparently they're getting over 1 million unique visitors a day to their website. So it's definitely a good place for you to be promoting yourself and promoting your products. He talks about, again, coming back to the bulk idea, he talks about the difference between your local grocery store and a big chain grocery store and a Walmart. And the difference being selection, right? So if you're an article writer, do you want to be the grocery store, the big chain grocery, or do you want to be Walmart? Of course you want to be Walmart, because you're going to get more customers, you're going to get more people to come in. So his overall theme over and over again was put lots and lots of articles up, but make them really good. The question he asked is, ask yourself how you can increase your content footprint. And one of the things that he talked about was the idea of outsourcing writing, and he's not a big fan of the idea. Obviously, they've come across some problems. He actually doesn't really trust ghostwriters, and I know a lot of people are ghostwriters and probably will have a problem with this, but he said, if you're going to work with them, provide keyword direction and titles for the articles. Don't just say, I want 50 articles on this topic, because you won't get what you want. They must deliver you exclusive rights. He says, make sure, I like this phrase that he's coined. He says, make sure they don't deliver you any Frankenstein content. And what he means by that, and a lot of you will know what Frankenstein content is, it's essentially where someone will take paragraphs from other articles and stitch them together, maybe rewording them a little bit, but essentially they're just patchworking your article together from other people's articles. And obviously, that's not good for anybody. It's not good for the original writers of those articles. It's not good for you as a publisher. It doesn't make you look good, and it's not going to get you anywhere with any of these companies like eZine Articles. He says you shouldn't pay anywhere south of $4 and anywhere north of $40 per article. They don't suggest articles be very long. I think I've got some notes on the length of the articles that he suggests. He recommends Elance or Guru.com to get your writers. He talks about scaling content. You should have a team. He recommends hiring in-house writers, making sure that you have control over them. Systemize your title writing. So, do your keyword research. Find out what you want in your titles so that you can get ranked on the search engine. You can get your articles ranked on the search engines. Remember that your ghostwriter is not a search engine optimization expert, so provide them with direction in terms of keywords that you want used. He talks about Longtail article writing, basically choosing topics. Again, Longtail is more micro niche topics that are going to get a smaller audience. He actually suggests looking at something called Middletail, which is somewhere in between the don't be writing articles about weight loss. Maybe write articles about weight loss for men. The long tail would be weight loss for men over 30. So his suggestion is to try and stay in the middle somewhere. Something that I always teach in my course: tools suck. Somebody asked about a piece of software called Market Samurai. He highly, he he's highly against it. You know, they don't want anything to do with these types of applications. I've never used Market Samurai, so I can't really comment on what it does, but I got the impression that it essentially is, it goes out to the net and it scrapes content related to the article that you want to write, and it writes articles by stealing other chunks of other articles. Frankenstein style, I suppose. So obviously they don't want anything to do with that. Somebody asked about using third-party submission tools. I guess there's some software out there, I've never heard of it before, or websites that allow you to submit to multiple article sites at once, including e-zine articles. He said they're not. He says they're basically turning a blind eye to it. So if you're using third-party submission tools, they don't mind, which is actually interesting. But he says to be careful when you're using these tools, because a lot of the time you're submitting to hundreds of article sites, and some of these sites are just set up to steal your content. So if you don't know the site that you're submitting to, you should probably uncheck it from this auto submit application. Again, dominate with volume. He's actually led us on to the fact that there's going to be a large number of companies in this year that have planned to put out more than 1 million articles. So that's some stiff competition on a website that's only got a few million articles on it. So definitely, you've got to start putting out some volume if you want to do well in article marketing. 86% of the writers on e-zine articles have less than 10 articles in their profile. So that tells you that the 80-20 rule sort of applies here. The top 20% of the writers are doing the majority of the work and probably earning the majority of the money. So you want to be there. Title dictates traffic. Don't sell your products in the body of your article. PLR, private label rights. He says PLR equals puke. Don't buy it. You're not going to get it published. More articles with lower word counts, and he's suggesting 400 to 800 words maximum, and closer to the 400 number is better. And he says that a good article contains a headline that makes a promise that the body delivers. So if you say, 10 fat-burning foods, and then you don't actually list 10 pieces of food, you're not doing a good job in your article. But if you list 10 things that will burn fat if you eat them, and explain why, that makes for a good article. You're making a promise and you're delivering it in the body. And it's not a sales pitch. You're not writing sales letters here. These are articles. And then it's all about your resource box. And he says in your resource box, you should have 2 links only. One link which is anchor text to your website, and another link which is just the HTTP to your website, because it says a lot of people will take and syndicate the content from e-zine articles, and they'll put in their email list, or they'll put it somewhere else where that anchor text, that HTTP, or sorry, the Ahref anchor text, the HTML anchor text link may not come out when it gets copied or syndicated. So by having that HTTP link, just a regular old link to your website, you're getting the opportunity to get both clicks. So if one site that's scraping that content, or that's pulling that content into their blog or whatever it might be, doesn't have the HTML parsing turned on, then you've got that HTTP there still. So I thought that was interesting. He's got some tips about the resource box. Your author name, a real name should be in the resource box, a URL, unique selling proposition, a call to action, click here, come to my website. Should be short on text. He says free report links work really well, and include your contact info and a profile photo. Also including the word free helps in your resource box, and get to the point in your resource box. What else has he got? Avoid these pitfalls when article marketing. Don't go for quality alone. Quantity helps. So, more articles is better than one really good article, according to e-zine. Don't hype yourself up too much or brag. Don't be broad with your content. Obviously, we just talked about failing to deliver on the titles promise. Infrequent submissions. He says that you should have a routine. You should say, look, if you're going to be an article marketer, you're going to submit 1 article a day, 1 article a week, 5 articles a day, whatever that is. Stay consistent with that. Don't put a whole lot out at once and then pull back and don't do any. Try and stay on a schedule. It will help to increase your traffic and snowball over time. Average click-through rate on an article through e-zine articles is 9%. That's a pretty good number. And he said that there's actually more clicks out of the resource box than they get to their internal advertising. So they're sending more traffic out to you, the article writer, than they are to their advertisers, which I thought was pretty cool.